Mac Miller is a breath of fresh air in the music scene. Every album he creates is a unique and artistic project full of life and creativity. Through Mac's career, he's created outstanding projects like Swimming or Faces, but as he was getting closer to his end, his music evolved and matured into more serious topics. On September 7, 2018, Mac Miller tragically passed away from an overdose, making Swimming his last album. Or so we thought.
Circles.
2 years after his death, his first posthumous album, Circles, was released and became his darkest album to date, but is still regarded as one of his most beautiful and best albums. Fast forward to 2025, and his long-lost 2014 album, Balloonerism, is now being released as his second posthumous album. While Balloonerism has sparked mixed reactions, it's been largely well received, and doesn't feel like a lazy cash grab like some other posthumous releases. This album explores Mac Miller's deepest struggles, touching on themes of drug abuse, childhood nostalgia, and self-reflection. All the way from the first track, Tambourine Dream, to the final 12-minute song, Balloonerism is one of the most delicate artistic creations of the year, and it fits perfectly in Mac Miller's discography. I suggest finding somewhere comfortable to sit and watch this video as we break down Balloonerism song by song.
Balloonerism, an unreleased album Miller created a decade ago.
Balloonerism. Miller album, Balloonerism.
Tambourine Dream is a 33-second opening to the album, similar to Donda's chant in Kanye West's 2021 album, Donda, and it sets the mood for what is to come. The first actual song on the album is DJ's Chord Organ featuring SZA, and it, in my opinion, is another mood-setting song that prepares the listener for what they're about to be listening to. The song begins with a series of notes on a chord organ, if you can believe it, and eventually it builds and builds, complemented by SZA's background vocals to her main verse.
I love when you smell like your car, smell like you've been driving for days, Mr. Postman.
Where she sings about how people can get lost in the grind. Mr. Postman is a double entendre for a literal postman who's dedicated to his job, and also a drug addict just trying to get by. Another metaphor is that driving is really referring to getting high, and she ends the song with the line, "Cocaine is ruthless," or how she says it,
Cocaine is ruthless.
saying that she understands the damage that drugs like cocaine can do, and she understands the addictions, which will be a consistent theme throughout the album. The third track on the album, Do You Have a Destination, doesn't sound like it, but is actually one of the bleakest and most open songs on the album. It has an upbeat melody and a mood that is used to hide the true message behind this song.
I don't know what happened to me, man. I went through some shit.
He starts the song saying, "I went to sleep faded and I woke up invisible," speaking his fate into existence, as just 4 years later he would in fact go to sleep faded and wake up invisible.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Gave my life to this shit, already killed myself, is one of the most damning lines imaginable. Him speaking to his craft, losing his entire being in it.
In this song, Mac expresses how he expects to wake up dead someday after an overdose, and that he's put everything he had into music, that it kills him. As with the rest of the album, he keeps describing his drug problems and his struggle with addiction that makes him miserable, despite being rich. This was the first single from the album, featuring a laid-back, lo-fi sound. The lyrics tell a story of a girl losing her spark, no longer finding joy the way she used to, with lyrics describing that he hasn't seen her smile in a while, and she used to have fun. This song is one of the driest off the album, in my opinion, so I don't really think there's too much left to say about it.
She don't know, she slept through the field trip.
The fifth song on the album, Friendly Hallucinations, is yet another relaxing and, in my opinion, almost tropical song. It yet again includes the tambourine sounds in the background and is accompanied by SZA in the background vocals. It feels very jazzy, synthy, and in the song it describes how this girl, I'm assuming the same girl as in the last song, deals with her drug abusing problems, and that she uses them as medicine to heal herself from her problems. Her friendly hallucinations are the drugs talking, and that on the other side of the dock is the drug paradise that she seeks. I wonder if the girl is just a way for Mac to talk about himself from a different point of view, or if it's an actual girl that he knew.
There's help inside that medicine cabinet. Came in for the answers, but she left with a habit. Yeah, nothing is impossible.
The 6th track on Balloonerism is Miss Deborah Downer, and is the song right before the halfway point of the album. The second half of the album is where everything gets more real and even more bleak. This song is a simplistic track where he just expresses himself yet again how drugs messed up his life.
In music, but I definitely was going through a drug problem, and
He talks about how life is simple in LSD and psychedelic drugs, and how his best friend left after he discovered how bad his addiction really was. The song ends with the lady ordering drugs.
Can I get 4 Norcos, 2 Oxys, 2 Roxys, 3 methadone, couple per...
This song is one of the saddest songs, as he gives stories and things that actually happened to him from what he's had to deal with his drug problems.
Breaks down the pain.
The 7th song, or the halfway song, Stoned, is one of the best tracks off the album, with its great bass, melody, drums, and really everything about it is great. It feels a lot like a TV girl song, with its funky-ish, relaxing style. In this song, Mac talks about a girl who he wants to get stoned with, and hang out and play music together. He says heaven feels like home, where he can get stoned. My favorite part of the song is where he says she's locking the bathroom door, and you hear heavy knocks on the door. It's a great example of the care he puts into one of his songs and the important details that add up to make a great song. Shangri-La is one of the most abstract and strange songs on the album. It feels like you're on a trip with him. Shangri-La refers to the fictional name of the Tibetan paradise in James Hilton's 1933 novel, Lost Horizons. This connects to Mac Miller because in 2014 he spent the summer in Rick Rubin's studio in Malibu, California, called Shangri-La. Rick Rubin was close with Mac and even produced a decent amount of his songs. This song, as I already said, is super unique and stands out on the album. The song elaborates more on this girl that we've been hearing about in the previous songs. But I think the more interesting parts are the lines like, just how super is a supermodel, where he brings up the question, how good is someone if the only thing we know about them is how they look and they don't have anything to offer from the inside. This song is one of the best off the album and one of the more unique songs he's made. He reflects on his thoughts about death and how, if he dies young, promise to smile at his funeral. He keeps on track with his theme of drug addiction.
Did no one ever teach you how to dance? Nobody ever taught you how to dance.
Funny Papers is widely considered one of the album's best tracks thanks to its layered background vocals, catchy verses, and unique themes. Funny Papers, the term, was a phrase used to say goodbye or farewell to someone around the early to mid-1900s, where people would say, "See you in the funny papers." The song begins with him saying, "Did no one ever teach you how to dance?" in a funny tone. This is just another way of him saying that has no one ever taught you how to live, and that you don't need a manual on how to live life. Another line in the song says, "Didn't think anyone died on a Friday,"
Didn't think anybody died on a Friday.
which is a disturbing coincidence because he died on September 7th, 2018, a Friday. In the chorus of the song, it says, "If I could just pay my rent by Tuesday, I bet I'd be rich by April Fool's Day," describing the irony of how scraping away will someday lead him to making it. He ends the song saying, "You realize you're surrounded by reptilians," meaning that those around you will alienate you into making you think that there's no one by your side to support you.
The other side, yeah. What your eyes see tonight.
One of my favorite songs on the album and the 10th track on Balloonerism is Excelsior. It has a nostalgic fantasy style with a skippy piano melody and fever dream-like background vocals bouncing from your left ear to your right ear. It's the shortest song on the album other than Tambourine Dream, but leaves one of the heaviest impressions on you. This song reflects on the pre-drug era of Mac's life, and talks about how kids can walk so freely, even in dire conditions like being an orphan.
The orphan children play on a jungle gym.
He says all this before the brainwash starts, meaning that growing up brainwashes the kids and removes their passion and kills their dreams. I used to want to be a wizard. When did life become so serious? This track is Mac missing and being nostalgic and maybe even jealous of the pure raw imagination of kids. This song is one of the most beautiful on the album and represents the artistic image of the album perfectly.
Before the brainwash starts. before they get polluted, start thinking like adults.
Transformations is the weirdest and, to be honest, the worst song on the album because it's so chaotic and abstract that I can't even imagine listening to it casually. This track features Delusional Thomas, which is Mac Miller's alter ego and serves as the voice inside his head. This song is short and not very exciting, so let's move on. The third to last song on the album, Manakins, is very similar to Excelsior and has a great mood and vibe to it. It's all about how no matter what you do, God is always by your side and he's always watching. He gets the feeling that every time he does something bad, like doing drugs, he's going to die, as if God is talking to him.
Josh?
Yes?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin, who?
Rick Rubin's piano.
Hey! Yes.
The final real song off the album, since the last song is 11 minutes long, in my opinion, is the best song off the album. With a great background melody and beautiful everything really, this is most people's favorite song on the album, and for good reason. This song goes back to the time Mac spent at Rick Rubin's house to try and get clean. I can't help but think of the movie Beautiful Boy when I hear this, and his journey to get clean, but it ended up taking him in the end of everything.
Smell just in place of your makeup.
He describes in the song that people start to get worse once they think they're the greatest, which gives a look into his mindset at the time and how aware he was of how everything could tumble down 10 times faster than it came up. This song includes very thoughtful comments like, "I wonder if blind mice ever wish they could see," which elaborates on how people can have different perspectives based on their place in the world and their situation. In the beautiful chorus, he wonders what death feels like and why does death steal life. The end of the song was one of the most heavenly endings to a song or an album that I've ever heard. The final track, Tomorrow We'll Never Know, is a haunting and introspective ending to the album. This song is a raw look into Mac Miller's mind, where he talks about how he looks at himself in a frozen lake and can't believe his own lies. He ends the album describing how he wants to end his life and begin another, and maybe that's what happened.
Do you fear that you'll have no control?
The rapper is dead at 26 years old.
Was going through a drug problem, and I think it was more my state of mind. I was just pretty depressed.
It's a really fucking dark album. But it's very consistent. Even if it's consistent in that depraved sadness.
Balloonerism is one of Mac Miller's most open albums to date and gives a clear view in his mindset and problems. From his fear of the future in Do You Have a Destination, his desire to get high with the girl in Stoned, or his resentment to death and its stealing life in Rick's piano. Balloonerism is just a piece of Mac Miller's creativity that we are fortunate enough to see all these years later. So if there's one thing to get out of Mac Miller's music, Balloonerism, or this video, it's to not be afraid to express your creativity and don't hesitate to put an effort into your goals. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're interested in some cool shirts, you can check out my store in the description. You can support me on Patreon for exclusive videos, and if you want to see a video better than this one, click one of the videos on screen.
Solid. You've heard enough.